Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is broadcast on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation from CIVL.
Sorry, Leslie, I forgot to record.
Okay. Welcome, listeners. You are tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody. And Dr. Leslie's so quick on saying hello.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And we broadcast from 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation on CIVL. But you can also catch us on the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group, where we do an early live stream while we're pre-recording the show. And you can also catch it on my YouTube channel, which is just Dr. Leslie Phillips. And of course, if you enjoy the show, you can go to my website, drlesliephillips.com, and listen to the many, many, many back episodes of Unlocking Your Truth.
Yes, back episodes.
That's right. And tonight's episode was inspired by a question that we actually got on our Facebook group. Somebody was really, really keen to know about how we choose our parents. So tonight's topic is, before I incarnate, is the choice of my parents preordained? So do we choose our parents before we create an incarnation on Earth? And the answer to that question is yes, we do.
Okay, that's it. Show for tonight. See you guys next week.
Yes, we do. And there's a number of things we can say about that. Of course, when we incarnate, we tend to incarnate with the same people over and over again. And that's what's called a soul group. So you will have a group of souls that you are very closely related to, and with whom you kind of travel through time, travel through incarnations. And within the soul groups, the types of relationships shift and change, so that sometimes a particular soul might be play the role of your mother, another time may play the role of your child, another time may play the role of your boss, your cousin, and so on. And so we incarnate over and over again with the same people, and we think of us as actors in a play. So
Okay.
before you incarnate, you have a general idea about the purpose of that lifetime, what themes you're going to explore in that lifetime. And then you need some other actors in that play who are going to help you to have those experiences. And so they may volunteer to play that part for you, and you may volunteer to play a particular part for them. So let's explain what we mean a little bit here. So the soul groups are founded on love, but just like in a play, you might have a group of actors that all have fun and go to the pub before and after the show and enjoy each other's company. But then in the theatre, one of them is playing a Machiavellian character, an antagonist, which causes challenges for the one who's playing the hero in the show. So it's a little bit like that. Because from the soul's perspective, from your soul's perspective, what you're wanting really is maximum growth and maximum expansion. And so that's why, sometimes people say, why did I choose these parents, and why did I choose these challenges that come with these particular people who are my parents? Not all the time, you can have loving, supportive parents as well, but often in any close relationship, there are challenges that arise within that close relationship. And sometimes there's almost a kind of a karma or an entanglement with two souls that cause them to be revolving in and out of incarnations with a particular theme until they sort that entanglement and that theme out with one another. So the short answer is yes, we do choose our parents. And of course, here's the other thing. Every incarnation you have, you do not have the same personality. You don't look the same, you're not the same, you have a completely different personality. It's called the body personality. And so when soul incarnates into a new lifetime, it's almost like you put on a new outfit. I'm going to be the mother this time, and this is my outfit. These are the characteristics, these are the characteristics of my character that I'm playing, and so on. And so while on a soul level, you're bonded by love, on the level of the body personality, then you're putting on these different guises. And then you're interacting with each other from the perspective of those different guises. So let's say that you want in your incarnation to explore the themes of perfectionism, ego, competition. You might get parents that help you explore those themes. So the two souls who are playing the role of your parents may have characteristics that challenge you. Maybe you have a mother who is highly perfectionist about how you look. You have to be turned out perfectly, dressed perfectly, hair perfect. Really, if you're out in public, how you look reflects on her, and so on. And so from a very small age, you're brought up under the perfectionism of how you look and how you appear in public. So that gives you a really big dose of perfectionism for you to work your way through. Because the other thing on the flip side of perfectionism is I'm not good enough. I don't look good enough. I've got a hair out of place. I dirtied my dress, or whatever it is. And let's say because you're exploring the theme of perfectionism, you get a father who is a perfectionist in another way. Maybe he's highly competitive and wants to be the best. It could be in sport, it could be in academics, and he might expect the same of you because you're his child, and again, you're going to show him up if you are not as perfect as he believes he is on those things. And so again, you get another healthy dose of perfectionism in another way from the other parent. And then that whole upbringing is a hotbed and a concentrated focus on perfectionism and ego and competition and comparing yourself to other people and trying to be the best and all of that. And then underneath, dealing with the unworthiness, dealing with the judgment and the criticism and all of those things. So that's one example. And I actually think it's a relatively common example. But another example might be in your incarnation, you want to explore the theme of self-reliance. So maybe you get parents who are a bit neglectful. Maybe they're at work all day. Maybe they, leave you to figure out how to go to the shop and get what you need for your dinner from a very young age. And so with that kind of upbringing and that kind of parents, you get the opportunity to learn to be self-reliant and independent. But the flip side of that is that you don't feel cared for, you feel abandoned, and so on. So we can write all sorts of different stories for ourselves in the relationships that we have. And yeah, Corey, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to jump right in there, Dr. Leslie.
Sure.
I'm not going anywhere. So Letitia says, so do souls choose to be evil or murderers? How do these souls end up on Earth?
That's an interesting question. And I would also say that life on Earth is dichotomous. What does that mean? It's based on duality, it's based on opposites. So every single one of us that incarnates on this planet has experienced the extremes of those polar opposites. That's why we're here. So there's no single one of us that hasn't had an incarnation where maybe we're the one who plays the role of the murderer or the thief or some other thing. And so it's not as simple as there are bad souls and good souls. All souls are based on love. And, you know, is it preordained that you are going to come and live a lifetime as a murderer? In some instances, yes. And depending on the theme that you're exploring. So for example, the theme that flashed into my mind was a battle. You might incarnate in a time where there's turmoil and battle, you know, bloody battle with swords and all of that. And, you know, that the odds may be that that's a likely scenario that you will end up in, a soldier on the battlefield, for example, fighting for your life. Other times, I think that somebody might be, you know, you're exploring a theme, but really you're writing the play as you go along as well. And so it might just go that way. It might just go that way to be the perpetrator. Or another time it might go the way that you're the victim. So how do they end up on Earth? Earth is not a paradise. Earth is a schoolhouse. It's a schoolhouse it's a kindergarten for learning how to exist in a highly polarized state. And so, you know, embedded in that question, it's sort of assumed that you know, how do awful souls like that end up on Earth? Those souls are just like you. You could have had a lifetime like that, or more than one lifetime like that.
It doesn't have to be on this planet either. It can be on any planet, anywhere, anytime, right?
We create in multiple realities, but this is a special place because of its density, because of its polarity, and because of the stage of development that we are at as a human species. So the theme was about, you know, are your parents predestined? Is it preordained that you will have the parents that you do? And I think we've answered the question that it is. You do choose your parents, and you do choose to some degree the type of relationship that you will have. The goal is always to transcend challenges, to move into a space of love. in all those relationships, but sometimes they might not feel that way while you're going through the challenges. Now, maybe we should talk about the word preordained and or predestined and what it means, and fate and free will.
Destiny and destiny.
Yes, because, okay, so fate or destiny is a predetermined course of events. We could talk about that when we come back after the break, couldn't we?
Yeah, we'd go to a bit of an early break. It's about a minute early, but we can do that.
Listeners, you've been
Why don't
tuning
we do
into
that?
Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. Tonight is a question of, before I incarnate, is the choice of my parents preordained? Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning in to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. And tonight's topic was inspired by one of our listeners who asked us to point her in the direction of the podcast that covered the idea of, was I preordained to incarnate and choose my parents? And we said, oh, we don't even think there is one, so why don't we do it?
Oh, I'm pretty sure there's something in there, but I took a look and I couldn't find anything titled that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might have talked about it sprinkled in some other episode, but we're focusing this episode on that. And so, yeah, fate, what is it? Fate and destiny. And how can you have fate and destiny and free will? How can things be preordained and at the same time you have free will? So, well, you know, and it depends what definition you want to put to predestination. It's often a religious connotation that God has decreed this is upon you, and that's, I wouldn't say that that's my perspective on it. So let's see if we can answer that. I believe that we come with certain themes to explore. And so the idea is, it's my destiny to explore this particular theme. But within that theme, I have free will to choose how that goes through the different choices that I make. But I'm still exploring that theme, whether I make choice A, choice B, followed by choice Z, followed by choice X, or whatever it is. From your perspective, in your body personality level of existence, you have free will because you're in this world of duality, and that means there's always choices. There's always this or that, because you're not existing in oneness, you're existing in separation, you're existing in duality. Does your soul and does source energy or God already know everything that is experienced within your life? Yes. Huh? How can that be? I'm on the ground living this life and I don't know what's coming next, and I've got free will, and yet you're saying from a higher perspective, my soul and my divine source see all of that laid out. And how is that possible? It's very paradoxical, isn't it? Well, the answer is, you exist in time and space. God is all. That means that there is an awareness within divine source energy of everything in existence. And so absolutely everything about you is known at that level of reality. From your soul's perspective, your soul exists outside of time and space, and therefore also has a different perspective on that journey that you are taking. You only have that experience of free will and choice because you are in time and space. I hope that makes sense.
Sure it does.
Yeah. So please, listeners, it would be great for you to post your questions either about this subject or anything else that you would like to ask about. You know, we can often have many past lives with our loved ones, like our parents. So whoever it is that's your parents this lifetime, I'm sure that you have known them before. And like I said earlier, you may have had, your father isn't always your father, your mother isn't always your mother. There can be, you can be exploring different interactions with these souls.
And
Sometimes,
that's never been truer than in our time. Just a quick interrupt. Misty says, I know I choose this, I remember it.
that's
I
great.
chose this.
Yeah, that's great, Misty. Great awareness.
Yeah, and Mr. B Jolly.
Mr. B. Jolly.
Yeah, Mr. B Jolly. Do we always I think you just answered this anyway. Do we always reincarnate into the current time on Earth, or do we also reincarnate into a time in the past from today's viewpoint? No, it's a little different than you.
Yeah, it can go in any direction. So,
Past, present, or future.
yeah, let's say after this lifetime, you're looking for a particular experience, and that there is an era on Earth that really offers a good opportunity for that progression of experience. That could be in the past of this lifetime that you're living now. It could be in the future of this lifetime that you are living now. It could even overlap with the time frame of this lifetime that you are living now. And so, again, we're embedded in time, but the soul isn't. And so, yeah, I mean, we think of past lives and reincarnation happening as a progression in time. This happens, then that happens, and then that happens, and then that happens. But from the soul's perspective, it's more like a pattern of experiences and potentialities, and I guess opportunities. So yeah, you could go back in time after you've been who you are now.
There's also, I mean, people talk about karma quite a bit, and that, like, oh, I have these children, it's karma for me, like mostly from being that type of child for their parents. But karma seems to be a big concept with people, and why they're here, why they do what they do, and why they have things done to them on this earth.
Yeah.
What do you think about karma, Dr. Leslie?
Karma is basically the law of cause and effect, which actually is the same as the law of attraction, believe it or not. And so, by the energy that you are now, you set up a trajectory or an energy pattern that is going in a particular direction. That direction could be positive, could be spiraling down, could be different things, but you have a momentum based on your energy and the momentum that you've built up. So let's say you are at loggerheads with somebody in a particular lifetime. You hate each other, you judge each other, you criticize each other, you can't, you're just really entangled, and you never get over that. And so when you pass on, you take that energy pattern with you, then you're going to be attracted together in that energy pattern until the pair of you transcend that energy pattern. So that's what we might call a form of karma, where you're incarnating with the same soul in a similar energy pattern. So you get the energy that you are. So if you're so entangled with someone in such negativity, you're just going to get more of that in this lifetime and the next. So it's a bit of a cool twist actually on the law of attraction, because we say, well, if you're wanting to create something, be the energy of that which you wish to create. So if you wish to transcend karma, then neutralize all of that, have your energy in balance, and come from a place of neutrality and compassion, and you can neutralize the karma. You can let go of karma in an instant, actually, but most people don't do that. But then you see, you can, just as I might manage my vibration and my energy in order for the next steps I want to take in this life, I can also decide that about the next life before I leave this one even, because I can set the energy up with that goal in mind.
Yeah, there's a word that hasn't come up much, and that's responsibility. You touch on it, but only very lightly. Basically, what you're saying with all these things is that we're responsible for what's happening to us on this plane of reality right now.
Yeah, we are. Each and every one of us is responsible for ourselves, responsible for our energy, responsible for our body, and responsible for the actions that get done through our body. And so even if you were possessed by an evil being and it wasn't you doing it, it's still your body. You're still responsible, because you're ultimately responsible for owning that body and owning your space, which means, knowing how not to be possessed by an evil spirit.
Sounds easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question from.
Great.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
No, question's good.
Okay, I have a question from Vanessa. She says, "Does our spirit ever become free, or does it always reincarnate?"
The choice to incarnate is part of the freedom that you have. So I guess you're coming from the perception that you're trapped on this planet in a body. And that's a terrible place to be. But actually, this is the leading edge of creation. This is an exciting place to be. Yes, it's a challenging place to be, but it's also a very exciting place to be. And we all choose to be here. We all choose to be in these bodies here on this planet. And so, yeah, you can evolve beyond the lessons available to you on this planet and choose no longer to participate in creativity on this planet. But that is a very advanced state. And so most of us just keep coming back, and actually we enjoy it. And while you're here, it can be, this is awful. But once you get outside of the body's reality, you're like, I can't wait to get back there. So thank you for that question, Vanessa.
Okay, I've got another one. We have one from NNEL, but I'm going to get to that in a little bit because it's just slightly off topic. These ones are. Melina says, neutralizing karma within the soul family is essential ancestral healing. The group will all feel that transcendence. Will that whole group feel that transcendence?
Yeah, if you heal yourself or eliminate karma, that means that you're letting go of a whole bunch of energy connections with your soul group and the other souls that you've been involved with on the level of whatever it is you're letting go of. So yes, they will notice that shift, and that shift will also be a part of their reality. it's up to them what they choose to do with that. They might go and find somebody else to get entangled with, seeing as you're no longer available. Or they may, you know, shift along with you.
Well, this life's too easy. I think I'm going to find somebody else to live this life with. So Anielle has a question. It's a little off topic, but let's go there anyway. She says, I have a question a bit off topic concerning my soul group. I long to be with SG, but I have no idea how to connect, and she is lost in her own ideas of who I am. I long for truthful expression.
Yeah. And so speaks to that idea of being embedded in illusion, and the difference between body and spirit. And like we were saying earlier, as spirit, you can be in the relationship in your soul group is based on attraction, it's based on love. But then you get down boots on the ground on earth, and it can roll out very differently. And people can get embedded in their own layers of illusion and actually be incapable of seeing each other, and be incapable of getting to the, you know, to the core of their own beings, and being able to perceive the core of the other person's being. And so you can't heal another person. All you can do is heal yourself. But in healing yourself, then you attract circumstances into your life that are matching up to that. The one thing that you could do, Anil, is communicate with SG as spirit. So instead of communicating with SG through the physical system and the physical body, hoping to elicit some kind of change on that level, you could communicate with her higher being. And sometimes that works because the higher being is able to receive what the lower being or the body personality level is not. So that would be my suggestion on that.
Okay.
And thank you for your question. Oh, it's time for another break, folks. Thank you for listening. We're going to take a break and come back after these messages. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to part 3 of tonight's episode of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. We've been talking about quite an interesting topic, which is, you know, did I choose my parents before I came here? The answer is yes. And now we're in the part of the show where we love to answer all your questions, and it can be about tonight's topic, or it could be about something else.
So Melina says, just as a response, that's so cool. I didn't think of that, but now that you say they may find someone else to get entangled with, I see those patterns more clearly now as well. Thank you.
Exactly. You're not responsible for healing anyone else, and you actually can't. All you can do is cut the cords at your end, and then it's up to them what they do about that.
Definitely. So Mr. B. Jolly is back, and Mr. B. Jolly says, how would we neutralize karma instantly?
Okay, how would we neutralize karma instantly? It's basically letting go of the past. It's basically letting go of everything that is out of alignment with who you are, everything that is out of alignment with your higher being. Now, easier said than, in some senses, easier said than done. On one level, it's easy. On another level, from our human perspective, we can't fathom how the heck do you do that. But it's basically moving yourself into a state of absolute surrender, non-resistance, and release and letting go, bringing yourself fully into the present moment, bringing yourself fully into a state of acceptance and gratitude and love, and and just dropping the baggage. Just dropping the baggage, dropping everything that's not in alignment with love, and your higher being. You know, in many religions, the christening, is it the christening ceremony, is meant to wash away sin.
Baptism, you mean?
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
the same as
baptism,
karma.
christening, I guess, yeah.
Pardon, Corey?
Yeah, I guess both are the same, baptism, christening.
Yeah, baptism is, I think, word that I was looking for. The word sin, the original meaning of that in the Christian Bible was just being out of alignment, being in alignment without sin, being out of alignment with sin. We've taken that word and made it mean something else, but is about really, am I in alignment with my higher being? Am I true to myself? Am I authentically expressing who, you know, my higher being through this body? Or am I distorted in some way through some form of illusion, which often takes the form of the things we talked about earlier: judgment, competition, ego, and so on. Bearing a grudge. As long as you bear a grudge, you've not let go of your karma.
That's true. I think when people think about preordained, a lot of times they're thinking about the regality, like queens and kings and princes being preordained to be kings and so forth. It's a very different. Like I look at, I've often said this on the show, but I look at preordination or destiny or fate as being like a roller coaster, like an amusement park. With this life is an amusement park, and in essence. And when people go to an amusement park, they often go to the first place they go is the roller coaster. It usually has the longest lines. And the interesting thing about that is that roller coaster ride, when you look at it, people are just white knuckling it and screaming in terror, and it like almost wanting to jump off. And yet they get to the end of the ride, they get out and they go back to the end of the line to get back on the roller coaster again. And I look at life like that. Life is the same thing. I mean, we come here, we experience negativity, positivity, you know, both, like you've talked about, both extremes of that experience. And it's something that we've chosen. We've chosen to get in line and experience this experience. And we don't want, and that's why I brought up the word responsibility up, because we really are responsible for how we feel. So, and then of course people will come up with the, well, you know, I'm a paraplegic. Did I choose that for myself? Yes, you did. You wanted that experience, that roller coaster ride of being a paraplegic. And I'm not saying it's a good ride. I'm saying in the way you're feeling about it, but it is that ride. And you can see different people, how they accept the same illness. I think that's amazing. Like one person will have, I don't know, liver failure and have to be on dialysis for until they can get a liver transplant. And another person has it. One person, oh no, cancer, I guess is a better expression. Cancer, oh no, I got cancer. Another person goes, I have cancer. Oh no, you know,
Or
like
they don't even accept the label
yeah, they don't accept. They
as,
said,
as
well,
something to define them.
yeah. So I don't know. Did you talk about the difference or similarities between fate, destiny, and preordination?
So fate,
How about
destiny,
predetermination? I
pre.
noticed that was another word that came up when I was looking at this topic. Predetermination.
So fate comes with the idea of this is going to happen to you. There's no escape from it. That's your fate. That's the idea of you know, you might go to a tarot reader to learn your fate. Will I die young? Will I have children? Will I get married? What's my fate? I don't personally believe in fate in that way, that that you have a single fated destiny. because I believe in free will. And so, but that's the idea of fate. It's your fate. Destiny, I feel that word to me somehow has a little bit more leeway. I was destined to become a king, but how you are a king can be, you know, how you live that out can be very different, right? So you've still got free will, but maybe you used this example before. I think the people that do sign up to a job in in the royal family, that's a bit of a job, isn't it? I think they choose that before they come in. Of course they do.
Or you can choose to run away to California with a movie star.
Yeah. And then predetermination. So if you say something's preordained, it's got pretty much the same meaning as fate, that God decided that this is what's going to happen to you. Predetermination, predetermined. I think that to me, that's more like you've set the train of your life in that direction. You're not going to be able to put the brakes on before you know, to stop at that station, or, you know, you're headed into the mountain. So it's predetermined because there is an impulse, a momentum that's making life go in that direction. But, you know, in some senses, we could just look these up in a dictionary, and I think in the dictionary, they all kind of mean the same thing.
I have a question from Katie. Katie says, after listening to many of your podcasts, and by the way, thank you, Katie, I understand the solution to finding answers, expanding awareness, uncovering blocks, ET, is meditation. You emphasize grounding and centering meditation often, and sometimes you say meditate on it. Is there another type of meditation you can tell us about, maybe even meditating while active?
So when I say meditate on it, to me, in what I teach, meditation and intuition go hand in hand. So all of my classes and my courses we are meditating, and we are meditating, practicing ancient energy techniques that allow us to cleanse ourselves, heal ourselves, and open our psychic abilities. So really, sometimes I'll say meditate on it or look at that for yourself. It means get into a meditative state, you know, and through the meditative state, access your psychic abilities in order to know, intuit your own answers. And I realize if you haven't taken my classes, you might not know all of the hows and wherefores about that. But just by grounding and being in the center of your head, you are placing yourself in the seat of the soul with a capacity to see clearly. And is there a walking meditation that I might, she said active, did she say, or walking? Active, moving meditation, or
maybe even meditating while active.
So you can ground while active, you can center while active, you can run different energies through your system while active. Many of the energy techniques that I teach, when we're learning them, we do it seated and in meditation. But once you get the hang of it, you can be going on a run. You can be walking, you can be using these techniques, whatever you're doing, many of them. So they're really tools for life, and that you can actively use while you're being active and while you're going about your business. Let's say your boss comes in and says, oh, you did a terrible job of this. I'm thinking of firing you. No. Well, straight away, you can be releasing what gets triggered within you down your grounding, and you can be in the center of your head, so you can be neutral about it. And you don't have to go, hang on a minute, let me sit down. You can just do it.
Thank you. So Katie says, that's very helpful. Thank you. I'm looking forward to attending your course for the next cohort.
Oh, great, Katie.
And now this is from Marie. How do we recognize the lesson to help us move on? I get the part about love to help release bad karma, but if we don't recognize the lesson, does it matter?
So you can release things without recognizing or knowing what they are. However, I think that question is asked from, because sometimes we can be stuck, can't we? And then we go, why does this keep happening over and over and over and over again? And why can't I get it? And so sometimes we do need to find out what the core belief, the stuck belief, or the core issue is. So how can you recognize a lesson that you're not getting or a block that you're not perceiving? Through meditation, through accessing your psychic abilities. Because oftentimes when we're blocked and we're bashing our head against the wall, we're coming at it from the body levels. We're being emotional. We're trying to figure it out in our intellect. We're stuck in our ego. And you're not going to solve the problem from any of those levels. But if you go into a meditative state, if you move into the center of your head, and if you perceive your life from that perspective, then it becomes easier for you to actually see clearly what is going on. So meditate, access your intuition, or go see someone who can reflect that back at you, because they can access their intuition and help you with that. So sometimes it does help. I mean, I have a lot of clients who come to me because they feel blocked with something. And in our mentoring sessions, I'll be able to identify the block and then talk them through dismantling the block. So sometimes, you can have a helping hand from somebody else.
Okay. So Mr. B. Jolly says, neutralize karma by absolute surrender to the present moment. Okay, I've got some homework. Thanks.
You're welcome, Mr. B. Jolly.
Hope you stay jolly about it.
Yes.
Barbara, I have a strong past life image of being in a fight to the death with my mother. We hit the ground running in this life. Now I am focused on sending her love so I do not carry it forward again.
Great, Barbara. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people actually do have past life memory, isn't it? Yes. So thanks for sharing that awareness and your experience.
Okay. And Mahal says, how many of you believe in Hindu culture?
So all of the religions on this planet are founded on core truth. And the Hindu religion is a very, very ancient religion. And I think many of the things that we talk about on this show, we deliver it neutrally, non-denominationally, but I think that you can find the same information deeply embedded within the Hindu culture, and in Buddhism and in Christianity and in probably any other religion that you say. And so I think the Hindu religion is beautiful and ancient, with many core truths at its heart and its center. And I probably don't know enough about it to say, like as in Christianity, I know for sure that the original teachings have been confounded and shifted and misunderstood. And I think that may have happened in many of the other religions. And my personal belief is that there's no one correct religion or belief system that works for everybody. I believe that everyone has a divine right to connect directly with their divine source and have their unique one-on-one relationship with God or with the divine. And then we have free choice if we wish to do that through the venue of Hinduism or Buddhism or Jainism or Christianity or Judaism or Islam or any other one that we might think of, Rastafarianism.
Yeah, it's the one thing. The one thing I've noticed on any religion I've ever looked at, and you look at the studies and study their, I guess if you study their documents, their writings, you'll see a definite trend of one word, and that's love. That it all boils down to love. And that, when everything from Christianity to Buddhism to anything, I don't think there's a religion out there that doesn't base their religion on some form of actual love.
No, absolutely. And, in Hinduism, there's a knowledge of the chakra system. I mean, that's a Hindu word and all of that. But, oddly enough, in Christianity, they teach about the chakra system. It is confuddled in, because it's taught through metaphor. But what are the 7 candlesticks, the 7 churches, and so on? They're the chakras. Oh my goodness. Well, Corey is telling me that if we are at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you for joining us this evening. And we will be back next week at 7:00 with another exciting show. And if you have something that you would really like us to cover, then before you go, write it in the comments section, because we are happy to consider theming a show around something that you've asked for, as was the case tonight. So
Bye-bye now.
folks. Bye-bye.